On a sunny Saturday morning 50 years ago, this Oxford High Street would have been chock-a-block with harassed young mothers and their broods of unruly children. Today, you can count the number of prams on one hand. UK-wide, the birth rate has fallen by an eye-watering 12% over the past decade alone. And in places like Oxford, a city where house prices are sky-high, that figure is closer to 30%. As leading demographer Dr. Paul Morland explained to me, this astonishingly rapid decline is already affecting the economy.
It will have a huge impact, and it's already having a huge impact. So we already see an ageing population, and that's because lots of people are living longer, but there are fewer young people coming up behind them. When I started in the workplace, there were about 2 new entrants in their early 20s for every person leaving in their mid-60s, say. And now it's sort of 1 for 1. And our economy has a voracious appetite for labour. So back in the 80s, we had an unemployment problem. Today, in sector after sector, it's really hard to find new recruits despite mass immigration. And that's because we were simply having too few children 20, 30 years ago. So that's the impact on the economy and the labour market.
And the shrinking pool of infants is taking its toll on local communities too. Richard Tilley runs a marketing agency which is helping schools fill places in areas where the number of children has collapsed. I spoke to him about what's been going on in Oxford.
You have 8 standard-sized primary schools that are completely full in year 6 at the moment, the cohort that's going to go up to secondary school in September, and those schools will be completely empty in reception this September. There are only about 35, 36 primary schools in Oxford or on the edge of Oxford. So that pain is going to be shared around, but it's not as if there are hundreds and hundreds of schools and you're going to be able to easily absorb that problem. Schools in Oxford will have to shut. Schools everywhere are going to have to shut.
In the spring budget, Jeremy Hunt pledged £5 billion to dramatically improve the free childcare provision for working parents. In time, that should help make having children an easier decision for young couples. And there are other economic levers the Chancellor could pull too. In Hungary, for example, families with 3 children or more pay virtually no tax at all. But Dr. Paul Morland doesn't believe that money is a silver bullet.
I think the culture needs to change. I think there's a lot in the culture that is pointing away from fertility, and I think that is really what will make a difference. It's certainly the case that people with a more pronatal attitude, very often people with religious backgrounds, people who value children, are likely to have more children, and I think it's the cultural conversation that needs to shift.
Britain's baby bust is a problem for which there is no quick fix. But it's becoming increasingly clear that to prevent a crippling workforce shortage in the near future, the UK needs radical ideas and a long-term plan. Olivia Utley, GB News.